In this tutorial, we are going to review the LP360 workflow and how to process raw data directly from the DJIL1 L2. Previously, you would have to do a portion of the processing in DJI Terra. However, with the latest update of LP360, you're now able to take the data directly from the L1, L2 sensor into LP360. So to get started, we will open LP360. Then we will click the sensor ribbon menu, then cycle import. Here we're going to import flights into new project. And we're going to select DJI, raw L1, L2. You can also bring in process data as well. Click next. Here we are going to find our raw L1, L2 data, and we just want to highlight the folder. And on this screen, we can select either to process RTK or PPK mode. Obviously, if you select PPK, you'll need to make sure that you enter the correct coordinates for your control point, and you can do that right here under the reference mark in the drop-down menu, and you can go add a new survey nail in LP360. However, with this workflow, we are going to review the RTK. Now, once you choose the mode in processing, we'll need to make sure that we select our geographic reference system. So we're going to choose NAD83, 2011 and ellipsoid. And once you choose your reference system, we will hit next. And then we need to create our output location, wherever we want to set up this project. Give the project a name. And then you are going to select the coordinate reference system of your project. And this one was Alabama East, Juliet 18 in meters. Once you select your project coordinate system, click Finish, click Yes, and it will import the data into the project. The next step is we're going to process our trajectories. So we're going to click Trajectory Processing. And then right here, we're going to select Submit Jobs. We can now see that our trajectory processing has completed. We're getting the notification in our Job Manager. So we're going to open our Job Manager. We can see right here that the L2 workflow is ready to continue. So we are just going to highlight that line and then click Complete Job. Going to get a notification asking us if we want to continue. Just click Yes. You're then going to get a pop-up notification letting you know that it has been successfully processed, and we now need to create our flight lines. So we're going to select Create Flight Lines. We're going to select our cycle and click Compute Flight Lines. Now, before I do that, you can see we've got some numbers over here. These settings, depending on how you have your settings set up, will determine the features of the flight line. So right now you can see I have 150 for minimum length. That's telling LP360 we do not want any flight lines less than 150 feet long. We do not want any flight lines within a 10-foot radius, and we do not want any flight lines over a 10-foot deviation. Now, if you forget what these settings are, if you just hover, it will let you know what each of the settings are. So we're going to click Compute Flight Lines. I'm going to click Next. And right here, we can edit our flight lines. So if we like what we see, we can just go ahead and click Close on our auto create flight lines, or we can continue editing right here. But if you want to manually create your flight lines, we can do that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these. And to manually create your flight lines, we're going to use our trajectory points. So over here on our table of contents, or in our table of contents, you can see our trajectory points. Turn on our trajectory points. And to create our manual flight lines, we're going to select Feature Edit. And over here on the left-hand side, we have our Select Edit tools. We can select by feature, polygon, or lasso. I'm going to select polygon. And I'm going to left click, left click, left click, and double left click. Now I can see I've got my trajectory points selected. Once you have the trajectory points selected for which you would like to create your flight lines, you're going to go to Sensor, Feature Edit. You can see manual flight lines right here. After you select manual flight lines, we can now see that we have our new flight lines in the project. I'm going to go back to our table of contents and turn off our trajectory points. And I can see I've got one flight line right here that I do not want. So I'm just going to select that guy and hit delete on my keyboard. Click yes. And the last step is to make sure that we save these edits. So to save these edits, you're going to click Feature Edit and Save Edits. Click yes, and now we have our flight lines ready for post-processing. So to continue, we're going to click the DJI ribbon menu, and then we're going to select post-processing. So in the post-processing menu, we've got several options. You can select clip angle, clip range, and then some choices for your images. So your clip angle is going to be your scan angle. So can't remember, I think the L2, the max scan angle is 75 degrees, I believe. I'm just going to leave 40, which would be 80 total. So it'll max out at whatever the scan angle is for the L2. Now, clip range is going to be the distance from the sensor and the maximum distance from the sensor. So you can see right here, we have 2 and 25. So if I let this as is, it is not going to geocode any data within 2 meters, within a 2-meter radius of the sensor, or any data that is beyond a 25-meter radius of the sensor. So this could be important if, let's say, if you have a lot of noise in the data. You can see that here we have our non-geocoded point cloud. We open up our profile view, and let's just say hypothetically, if we had a lot of data here underneath, I'm sorry, a lot of noise underneath the point cloud, we could actually clip that out. The same for above the point cloud. If you notice that you had a lot of noise above the point cloud, you see that we've got some power lines right here. So if you wanted to clip those out, we could get a measurement and compare that to where the flight lines are, and we can use that for our clip range. Then down here in photos, it'll ask you which photos we want to geocode. It's going to default to just the photos within the flight lines. However, we could geocode all photos, photos within flight lines and interior turns, or just photos within the flight lines. So we're just going to leave that at photos within the flight lines. We're going to use the entire scan angle for our clip angle, and I'm going to turn off clip range. So when you have your settings ready, click Run Post-Processing, and your geocoding will begin. The post-processing has now completed, so we're just going to hit Close here. We can now see our post-process point cloud, and we can continue with the standard LP360 workflow by running the strip align and thereafter the ground classification process. We also have our geocoded photos. So if you have the Agisoft, if you have the Agisoft Ortho add-on, you can begin processing your point cloud. If you don't, you can export your photo package and take it into a third-party software such as Pix4D.